What's up, everybody? I'm with Pastor Sarah from Audubon Park Covenant Church. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hello. I'm very good, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful out right now.
It is amazing. It's not 100 degrees.
Yes.
Incredible. So we are at Pastor Sarah's church right here in the heart of Audubon Park. One of the things I wanted to share with you guys is when my family moved to Audubon Park a few years ago, Pastor Sarah was there, and such a embracing, loving aura, and there was nothing like, come to our church. It was like, come hang out at our church, it was so cool. And like I was telling you that, my mom was Jewish, my dad was Polish Catholic, so in a way it kind of like canceled each other out. So, I feel like some spirituality there, but not just like as much of a religious thing. So I just want to thank you for that. That's like just really cool for you, just how you are.
Thank you. Well, I'm honored. I'm honored to be on this, and you all are such a gift to the community too. Your family always gives back and is so connected, and that's what all the people that do that in this neighborhood is what makes this neighborhood so unique and special, and why we love it so much, and I love it so much.
I know, it's the best. So, Pastor Sarah, how long have you been the pastor of this church?
Yes, so actually October of 2013 is when I arrived on the scene in Orlando. And arrived at this church, and so I've been pastoring in some capacity here for 6 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And what have you seen in terms of, the way that the community started to embrace, you and the church, and how it's grown? Have you, what have you noticed?
Yeah. It's a very unique placement of a church. This kind of very old school. I don't mean like old school. Mm-hmm. To have a church in the middle of a community like this. Okay. Like way back, medieval times, kind of old school, that there would be a church in the center of a community. And what that, I think, allows is for the church and the community to have a very special bond. The church can't become, or it's harder for the church to become disconnected from its community, and to serve the community, which is the call of the church, is to love and serve the community. And so when I came, I think this church was struggling with having been connected once, but generations kind of growing up and moving on, and over time people moved out of the neighborhood, still came here, but weren't grounded in the neighborhood the way it had been in the past, kind of lost touch. And so that was really my drive, was to help us reconnect to the community.
That's
because
awesome.
We're buried here. We need to, we are the Audubon Park Church, so that's really been my heart.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things I know that is really, I think the ways that you guys give back and also connect is all the fleet farming that you're involved with.
Yeah. Fleet Farm, their motto is grow food, not lawns. So they farm people's yards. There's millions and millions of square miles of lawns all over the United States, growing a crop that does no good for us. Grass doesn't produce anything useful. And so the idea is to utilize that space to actually grow nutritious food, really, really local food. The statistic is that the average meal on a plate has traveled over 15,000 miles, which is a lot of carbon, CO2 in the air and things like that to get to your plate. So kind of a hyper local. And also then kind of their new thing is they've recognized the need to grow farmers.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yes,
I like that. Yeah,
because our generations of farmers are dying. They're getting older, they're dying, there's not people to take over, and so we need to grow new generations of farmers as well. Young people connected to the land with a passion for growing really, really nutritious food. We're dependent on the earth and the food that the earth produces, and so we need to take care of each other.
I love it. So what different plants do you guys have here?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. So Florida is unique because we can grow year round, but it's hot. Summer is difficult. So we're just coming out of the summer season, and we can grow a lot here, but soil's really crappy. It's all like sand and the heat. So there's things we can't grow, but there are things we can grow.
What are those over there?
So those are papaya trees. We love papaya, grows so well here. Did you know there's male and female papaya trees?
I did not know that.
And you need both. So there's the females are the only ones that grow the fruit, And green papaya is like where it's at. You can do a lot nutritionally with green papaya. You don't have to wait for it to get golden. So that's the papaya. Everybody should grow it. It grows super easy here. This one's my favorite. This tree here is moringa.
Moringa.
Yes, I call it the vitamin tree.
Oh, you were telling me about that before.
Yes. Again, everybody here should grow moringa. It's got like essentially your multivitamin. You take a little branch of that a day and throw it in a salad, throw it in a smoothie.
Okay.
And you've gotten all your vitamins you need for the day.
What's it taste like if you just take it from the tree? Is it?
Yeah, we can taste it. You'll see what you. There you go.
It just doesn't taste like anything.
No, you don't think so? One of the other names for it is horseradish tree. You don't think it has that horseradishy?
Mm-mm. It's
No?
pretty bland.
It's pretty bland. Okay, good. So you wouldn't maybe mind eating it so much. Some people think it's a bit strong. It's
not
really easy to dry and powder, though.
Tastes like spinach or something.
It's way more nutritious than.
I'm starting to.
You're getting the spice now.
aftertaste,
Yeah. It's way more nutritious than spinach. It has your protein, your vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin A, magnesium, zinc.
Okay.
I mean, it's got everything in it. It's really calcium. They actually use this tree because it grows really well in Africa. The powder as in supplement for babies in areas where they really can't get proper nutrition.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
They actually grow and use moringa to supplement it.
So you guys thought you were going to learn about churches, but actually this is plant life, baby.
Plants! Well, I think it's all interconnected.
I do too. You know, we were talking about kind of spirituality and different religions, and what's your take on what's your spirituality versus religion? Like, do you have how is that connected?
Well, religion is more, to me, religion is like all the trappings of people's spirituality. And it's not necessarily bad. Having ritual and rhythm to your life is good. However, that can become stale and dead if you are not engaging in it meaningfully.
Yeah.
So I think for me, somebody who has an active spirituality is somebody who's paying attention to the world around them, is connecting with something larger than themselves, as we were talking about earlier, recognizing that there is something beyond what we can see and touch and experience, with that both are elements of who we are, and it allows space for mystery, and I think that's super important.
I think sometimes it's the semantics in a way, religion, you have these certain constructs of, well, this is like this, and they say that you have to do this, versus spirituality, like you said, is kind of mystical. You'd be like, I can do whatever I want. I can eat plants. I can, pray to whoever.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a.
Of course. I mean, that's one of the things that I think is always a struggle when people try to sit down and talk, especially about things that are sensitive. Language is always a barrier because we mean different things a lot of the time. And I think we've become more and more isolated into our little echo chambers of what we mean by things, whether it's around religion and spirituality or politics. And the key to break down those barriers, to me, I think in many ways is found in spaces like this. If we can really be connected the way we're supposed to be, is that we can find common ground, even when we do have different languages for each other, and for terms and ways of being, but that we can find that common ground of love and care and community that's so crucial and cuts across every religion and spirituality, frankly. Yeah,
that makes sense. I was had a question, what about your particular church is a Protestant covenant? Is that the...
Yeah, so we're part of a specific denomination called the Evangelical Covenant Church, but it's there's kind of big branches. I just saw on Facebook a fellow pastor in our denomination is trying to create a visible tree of denominations, Christian denominations. And so if you were to look at kind of the roots or the, down the branch from the Covenant Church, it was Swedish at one time, Swedish Lutheran. They were part of a renewal movement in Sweden and Germany and places like that out of the Lutheran Church, and Lutheranism was a renewal movement out of Catholics. So the idea was not to just do these things like religion, but to actually have a heart connection to what you're doing, participating in, and that being involved in Christianity, reading scripture is actually supposed to change how you behave for the better.
So how did you get into, like, what brought you to this path of being a pastor?
Yeah, grew up in the church. Always a really important part of my life. Went to church schools all the way through high school.
Okay.
And ended up at like 25. I was like looking back at my life, really open to what God would have for me. And I look back, everything I had done was ministry related, was caring for people, caring for God's creation, and in a faith context.
Okay.
And so it just became a natural step. I looked into seminary, even though I had lots of experience in it already. I thought I wanted to do youth ministry.
Okay.
And seminary is grad school for pastors, essentially.
Got it.
And so ended up doing that, and then God had other plans, and God said, no, you're going to be a pastor. I said, too much responsibility. No, that's what I was supposed to be. And so profoundly called here. Last served a church in Washington State, and was brought here by the people of this church through a whole lot of circumstances that to me, for me, it was God absolutely calling me to this place. And I have a profound sense of calling to this community and to this church, that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing the exact thing I'm supposed to be doing.
It's got to be such a great feeling, right?
It's amazing, and makes all the difficult parts, because there are difficult parts, lots, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Because I have that profound sense of calling, that inner knowledge that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. So, being a pastor of a certain denomination, there's probably, you have like a head of your church, or, you know, whatever, a board members or whatever.
We have board members, and
so,
yes, all that.
My question is, when they say something that isn't exactly aligned with your beliefs, how do you reconcile that, and how do you, like, say to your, you know, followers, like, this is what they say and this is what I say, or do you have to like toe the line, or how? I mean,
That's very hard. Okay. That is a very difficult thing. Generally speaking, the Covenant Church is, one of the things I love about it is it's meant to really be a space that people of all different kinds of beliefs, but still within the Christian umbrella, can find room in.
Okay.
That's a really beautiful aspect of it. Okay. But of course, there are times that it's very difficult, because there are things that happen that I don't agree with. For example, our denomination has been ordaining women like me to be pastors of churches, which is not across Christianity, all Christianity, for 40 years. However, because of this freedom, there's lots and lots of churches that really don't embrace women in leadership at all. We're still having to fight that battle, which is really hard, to be colleagues with people that don't think that I should be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's
so you know, our leadership maybe doesn't always fight for us and with beside us the way they could and should when it comes to those issues. So
interesting.
That's hard. So for me, it comes down to going back to the Bible, which is the basis of where we do everything here, and recognizing that calling and speaking that truth here, even if it sometimes differs from what other people are interpreting that as. Okay. So far I've had the freedom to do that here.
That's awesome.
And I hope to continue to have that freedom, because that is very important to me.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for having us on. It was really fun. I feel like I could have so many more conversations with you.
Well, we can do it off camera.
Oh, no, I gotta go.
Around the fire or something. I don't know. It's getting cooler, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.